Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and thank you for tuning in to Canal Algérie's nightly news on January the 11th. Here are the major headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, congratulates the Algerian people on the occasion of the new Amazigh year 2974. The President's Prize for the Amazigh language and literature is awarded to the laureate in the presence of the Prime Minister Nadir El-Arbawi, representing the head of state. The new Amazigh year is celebrated across the national territory and in France in a festive atmosphere, denoting a solid attachment to our identity and ancestral traditions. The Zionist entities in the dock at the International Court of Justice as requested by South Africa for genocide in Gaza. And the national football team keeps training in Côte d'Ivoire before taking on Angola in their opening game of the 2023 African Cup of Nations. Welcome back. We begin tonight's bulletin with the Nayr, or the new Amazigh year 2974, where on this occasion the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, congratulated Algerians both in the homeland and abroad in a tweet which reads, "I wish all the good and blessings to Algerians inside the country and outside on the occasion of the new Amazigh year. May Algeria's pride and glory last." As Gessem Gez and tweet. In a related context, President Tebboune sent as well a similar message to the Army General Saïd Chingriha, the Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, in which he extended his best wishes for the new year to him, to all the Army personnel, paying to them a vibrant homage for their efforts at the service of the country during this period marked by multifaceted challenges both at the regional and international levels. On the occasion of the new Amazigh year, the 4th edition of the President's Award for Amazigh Literature and Language was organized at the level of the International Center of Conferences. Prime Minister Nadir El-Arbawi is present during this event, representative of the President of the Republic, and chaired the prize ceremony to honor and encourage lucky laureates. Melissa Gabash starts us off tonight from the International Center of Conferences.
More than 100 participants presented their literature works within the President of the Republic's Award for Literature and the Amazigh language. The 4 laureates were distinguished by their innovation and creativity.
إن هذه المناسبة الوطنية لهي فرصة للتأكيد على أن الأمازيغية في الجزائر.
The state's efforts aims at preserving this authentic dimension and consolidate the components of the national identity through these institutional spaces or legal texts that contribute to the preservation of this linguistic national heritage.
والتشريعات التي من شأنها المساهمة في الحفاظ على هذا الموروث اللغوي والثقافي لبلادنا.
The contest was marked by 4 categories, namely research of immaterial cultural Amazigh heritage, scientific and technological researches and digitization, linguistics, the Amazigh literature, or the translated one into Tamazight.
We held the efforts deployed by the President of the Republic and the Algerian state aimed at integrating and promoting the Amazigh language, namely through the support of literature, scientific and technological works.
إلا قد هذه خذب شو يميزمر ديال ثاغولت ديال أمضيق وكن نظر زدات
ثيويغ الرز أمزورو ذي ثاغولت نت يمي ذو نذيا ذيك في كمية ثدلسان ثمازيغ سيون القديش يخدمغ يسمغ التربية نتزيزوا نغ تزيزوي ثكتمن تغ ذيك ثمنات القبائل.
A jury composed of experts, university researchers and specialists of cultural Tamazight heritage were in charge of assessing the different works presented during the event.
Since the launching of the award, we've reached more than 400 schools in the region, a telling evidence that this event encouraged intellectual and cultural creativity. Being part of these laureates is an honor to me. It encouraged me to further invest within the field of research and Tamazight heritage.
أريغ أسك زوال تشاويث في طمنات تشوث بوغديس أزال 5 سكوسن الحمد لله نفرح مليح
ذما أذليس يمس أذليس مسلي أذليس تمسيولة إيوا كنا ذاك صار خصاصني قتيلين دي قول معذن توثلاث تمازيغ.
Encouraging the research field, literature production and Amazigh linguistic could only boost Algeria's cultural field by bringing an added value to culture, heritage and national identity of our country.
The new Amazigh year was celebrated across the national territory. In Algiers, for instance, a special market was put in place near the Grand Poste at the heart of the capital to display different products showing the diversity of our cultural heritage. In the southern province of Bishar, and particularly in one of its famous qusurs or palaces, a culinary contest was held to showcase the delights of the Berber cuisine and preserve our traditional dishes. The same atmosphere prevailed in Iran and other provinces, denoting our deep-rooted attachment to our ancestral values and customs. Our national community in France, notably in the southern city of Marseille, celebrated this national event to denote once more their solid attachment to their homeland and to their deep-rooted ancestral traditions and values. More on these festivities with both our reporters Afaf Belhouchet and Melissa Kebash.
The Algerian consulate in the French city of Marseille celebrated for its part as well the New Year of Yanair. A joyful atmosphere prevailed among those present there as an exhibition was organized on this occasion displaying all kinds of the Amazigh heritage. The council attended this event and enjoyed this cultural activity along with those present, an opportunity to recall their ancestral heritage.
Je suis vraiment ravie. C'est un excellent. Ça fait vraiment plaisir.
I'm glad to be here. The exhibition represents my origins. I would like to thank all participants and the council as well for this great opportunity.
Et merci au consul de nous offrir cette opportunité.
The event shows our traditions as Amazigh. I am very glad I was able to be part of it. I am very happy. This is my first time to attend this event.
Celebrating Yanair with symbolic gestures was the case in Bulbini, where the consul himself passed around sweets or iltres, a mixture of chocolate, candy, dates and almonds, to his fellow colleagues.
International news now regarding the genocide issue carried out by the Zionist entity since October 7th in the Gaza Strip. The International Court of Justice held a hearing session on the precautionary measures requested by South Africa, which filed a complaint last December against the Zionist entity for genocide in Gaza, which began this morning. Ines Killu has a full story.
The Zionist entity is finally in the dock. It will have to answer before the International Court of Justice for these crimes committed against civilians in Gaza for more than 3 months. 2 sessions are scheduled to be held today and tomorrow to discuss the temporary and emergency measures requested by South Africa to avoid the continuation of the genocide. Pretoria requests the International Court of Justice to order the Zionist entity to end genocide and the serious psychological and physical impact and prejudice caused to the Palestinian people in Gaza. It also urged the state to cease deliberately imposing living conditions on them with the intention of leading to their destruction, but also to allow humanitarian access to the besieged areas. The Minister of Justice of South Africa said that his country was not the only one that accused the Zionist entity of genocide. The United Nations preceded it, and from the beginning, South Africa considered the aggression on Gaza to be a genocide, like the Arab League, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation Conference, and many other human rights organizations around the world. In the face of the death of more than 23,000 martyrs, South Africa adhered to its rights and obligations in order to prevent this heinous genocide and protect the Gazan population from annihilation. The rights and obligations are exercised within the framework of the United Nations Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide of 1948. The South African Minister of Justice explained in a press release that his country is determined to put an end to the genocide in Gaza throughout this trial, noting that South Africa drew its strength from world leaders who sided with this fair cause. For his part, the Palestinian Deputy Secretary of State at the UN stated that the complaint filed by South Africa against the Zionist entity for genocide in Gaza has a solid chance of succeeding, as it went hand in hand with the points often raised by the Palestinian state at the level of this institution.
Let's have a listen now to the famous French lawyer Gilles Devers, who made the following statement regarding this unprecedented case.
Today was the first hearing, and we can draw from it a set of conclusions. First of all, that the Zionist entity usually brings Palestinians before justice, but this time they are the ones in the dock of the International Court of Justice for genocide, which is not to be taken lightly, and by this a new international judicial debate arises. The second factor is the high level of debate taking place. When the complaint was filed, the Zionist entity began mentioning defamation and anti-Semitic bases, which were disregarded in 2 minutes, given that it's a high-level judicial debate relying on law, proofs, and judicial references. Third of all is the definition of genocide. We are indeed accusing the entity of genocide because genocide is not only the physical murder of people, but it is also the destruction of their life conditions, which is what we witness every day, and which was recalled this morning. It is a systematic destruction of all that is Palestinian under the cover-up of targeting Hamas executives. Fourth of all, as we wait for tomorrow, the Zionist entity's response and the decision, which will be taken fast, whatever happens, we have reached a new phase based on international law. In parallel to the procedure that concerns the states, we are advancing in the procedure which concerns individuals before the International Criminal Court. It is a constructed work based on proofs. The goal is to make the Palestinians' case advance until the obtaining of arrest warrants against the Prime Minister, the Defense Minister, and the Chief of General Staff. This will be a long and hard process, but law will prevail.
While the International Court of Justice commenced the hearing on South Africa's genocide case against the Zionist entity, pro-Palestine demonstrations took place in South Africa.
Help me. People in Israel, Palestinian and Israeli. We will find Netanyahu and his co-warmongers on that side of the dock where Eichmann was.
On the ground in the occupied Palestinian territories, the situation is critical as we approach 100 days of genocide. The occupation army is ramping up the attacks while the casualties are rising. Over the 24 hours, around 112 individuals were killed, bringing the death toll to more than 23,000 martyrs, while more than 59,000 individuals are reported wounded. Critical civilian infrastructure is being destroyed. The health system is collapsing. According to the UN spokesman Stephen Dujarric, just 1/5 of the 5,000 beds required to meet trauma and emergency needs in Gaza are available. Palestinian, Arab, and Islamic institutions in the United States called on the members of the Arab Muslim community and the activists from all states to take part in a large demonstration of 1 million people next Sunday in Washington, D.C. to demand a ceasefire now, an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. In Morocco, people stand firmly against normalization with the Zionist entity. Despite the harsh social and economic challenges they are facing, and even despite the general paralysis that the country is experiencing due to constant strikes being observed throughout the country. Ines Killu has more for us.
For the Moroccan people as a whole, life has become increasingly difficult and precarious. These demonstrations are a further evidence of the weakness of the Mahsen regime. For a while, the country has been experiencing a health crisis, which is having a major impact on the national health system. All health centers and hospitals have been paralyzed due to the constant strikes observed by the paramedical staff. The reality of everyday life in Morocco is far from that being promoted by the Mahsen media, who see the education sector as nothing more than a financial burden, a system that stigmatizes teachers, going so far as to sack hundreds of them and provoke selective and devastating work stoppage.
I won't hide the fact that I'm very happy about this dismissal because it shows that the system is corrupted with regard to teachers. It's an unbearable situation. We are tired. It's been going on for 4 months. It has to change.
In Morocco, humiliations are present in all aspects of life and among ordinary people. The shortage of water has smashed the dream of many Moroccans, becoming a form of protest adopted by some of them. In response to their suffering, the Moroccan people launched a popular petition denouncing normalization.
We came here to raise our demands, but unfortunately they did not agree to see us. They denied our access. We reiterate our support for the Palestinian cause.
Hiding behind the slogan Taza avant Gaza, the Mahsen regime is speeding the fall of its throne by becoming increasingly bogged down in normalization, unanimously and categorically rejected by free Moroccan citizens.
Sports now, the national football team held their first training session in the city of Bouaké in Côte d'Ivoire ahead of their opening game versus Angola as part of Group D made up of Burkina Faso and Mauritania. Worth mentioning that the official kickoff of the tournament is set for this Saturday. The Algerian television is to air 17 games. Good luck for our national team. And as part of the National Football Championship, CS Constantine trounced Molodiev around with 4-1, putting MCO in the relegation zone, while USM Algiers is steadily progressing by defeating the visiting team of GS Saoura with 2-1 in a game held at the 5th of July Olympic Stadium here in Algiers.
بالكراشاي مسجلا الهدف الثالث مسجلا ثالث الاهداف قبل خروج الحارس وابدي يلعب ب10 عناصر يا له من ريمونتادا يا له من هدف ثاني.
Thank you for watching and happy New Amazigh.